Imagine a card game where the starter decks were not just viable, but the foundation of a Tier 0 archetype. That's the legacy of Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duels. The first two sets of the game offered little else, and the other decks that did exist were still better off shoving in Dragias and a Spellcaster engine. And to make matters worse, Dragons and Spellcasters were getting new support. Illusion Strike Mirage Impact released on November 2020. Spellcaster decks would make use of Light Sorcerer as another 1500 attack normal monster. This card may not seem impressive to players of modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, but in the Rush Duel format, it was a premium unit. You'll notice it has 0 defense, a trait shared by most 1500 attack point monsters. Until now. This set also imported Gazelle, the king of mythical beasts, claiming the throne for the highest stat total on a level 4. Similarly, Doriado debuts, power creeping strange cat in the 1400 defense slot. But the most important spellcaster may just be Sparkheart's Girl. On top of providing a way to beat opposing boss monsters, it was also the best fire monster, helping fill out the requirements of Seven Roads Magician. On the dragon side, we have the pack's namesake, Illusion Strike Dragon Dragias, with 2500 attack, the ability to attack twice per turn, and a debuff. Resolving this card can win the game on the spot. However, the regular version of Dragias would remain supreme. Not only is the requirement much easier to activate, but it's also able to attack directly with the bonus attack from its effect. Treasure Dragon also debuts, offering Pure Dragon decks a great target to summon off Dragonic Pressure. And when it comes to drawing cards, Dragon's Return comes with the low cost of recycling your own units. It's no Dark Revelation, but still solid. There's also the Ancient Arise Dragon Trio, with the most important of these being Clear Ice Dragon, which features an effect to shuffle monsters from the opponent's graveyard into the deck. Alongside Whispering Fairy, timing these effects well can prevent the opponent from activating Dark Revelation. This set also helped lay the foundation for several more casual decks, including Noodle Ninjas, Aqua, and Earth Machine. Beast Summoner is a card that would go on to see some play, though it is worth pointing out Beasts and Winged Beasts do not get the benefit from Beast Gear World, the field spell designed to help counter Dragoncaster. Lastly, dedicated water players could start experimenting with Umi, using support like Anchor Moray and Survival Swordfish alongside the boss monster Battle Shark Megalon. As we head into December and close out the first year of Rush Duels, no answers were in sight. Seven Road Magician can buff itself to 3900 attack, and Dark Revelation destroys anything that tries to stop it. But what if it couldn't? A Drago the Sky Emperor comes with 4000 attack and immunity to trap destruction, but it comes with a catch. To get these effects, you must first assemble all 3 special cards, all 3 pieces of the puzzle. Just one successful summon was enough for Drago to obliterate any deck that stood in its way, and compared to Exodia, it has several upsides. For one, you just need 3 cards, rather than 5. And secondly, Rush Duels allow each player to draw until they have 5 cards in hand at the start of each turn. So, how does it hold up? Not very well. The deck was inconsistent and was just as likely to lose to a Tier 3 deck as it was to beat Dragoncaster. While it did take down some tournaments, winning the occasional small, single-elimination, best-of-1 tournament requires just as much luck as it does viability. Apart from Yggdrago and the associated support, the set was notable for introducing Trap Hole and Card Destruction, 2 legend cards that would see more value than their predecessors. With the reliance on tribute summoning high-level monsters, Trap Hole could regularly 3-for-1 your opponent, wrecking their momentum for a turn. Card Destruction was useful in Yggdrago decks as a way to quickly dig deeper, but it may have been even better against them. The Yggdrago player was unlikely to draw all 3 pieces in one turn, and a well-timed Card Destruction would force them to discard any accumulated pieces. The rest of the set is underwhelming. New archetypes such as Cat and Thunder Beetle vie for the title of worst deck in the game. The set also included cards from the Wash archetype, but noticeably lacked the anime-exclusive boss monster Big Tidy. Let's move on to February and see what the next set, Destined Power Destruction, has in store. Jinzo is here. Most players don't need an introduction, but a 2400 attack, 1 tribute monster is higher than any non-legend card, and his continuous effect stops all trap cards, meaning the opponent won't be able to activate Dark Revelation. Is this finally the answer we've all been waiting for? No. While Jinzo does mean decks can more consistently fight back, there's nothing stopping Dragoncaster from running it too. And despite how long the deck has dominated, there's no ban list in sight. But if we look at the other cards in the set, we find the designers have a plan. In addition to Jinzo, Ensemble Fighter the Music Fiend protects Wind Warrior cards from traps, and Grand Extreme removes 5 monsters from the opponent's graveyard, making it much harder to maintain 4 spellcasters and meet Dark Revelation's activation requirement in the first place. And we can't forget that Jinzo is boosted by Beast Gear World, the dedicated anti-meta deck, which also receives the incredibly powerful card Mirror Innovator. Machines are starting to pose a threat, but how are maximum decks faring? Worm Excavator the Heavy Cavalry Draco wasn't just an alternative to Yggdrago, but a card that some players would use alongside it. The theory goes that summoning a single maximum monster wins the game, so why not include 2, and make it more likely you draw at least one of them? To help reach that goal, Geological Survey would help players filter through their deck even faster, and the additional set of maximum monsters in the deck makes it easier to resolve Heavenly Gift to draw 2 more cards. Now, before we jump into the next booster pack, we need to go back, all the way to the beginning of the game. As I mentioned in my previous video, Rush Duels released right as COVID spread across the globe, and that means there were no tournaments. No tournaments means no tournament prize packs, but Japan finally got them in March 2021. Among these long-lost rewards was Necmaid Nana, a card able to recycle resources and draw 2 cards. The card released to no fanfare and saw little play, but we'll have to keep it in mind for later, as there's more lurking under the surface of this zombie. Heading back to our regularly scheduled releases, Dynamic Eternal Live released in April 2021, and it revitalizes Psychics, a deck with some alright tools that hadn't quite been able to compete. The star of the show is Can Re-D, allowing players to extend by returning Roman Pick to the hand. And with cards constantly being milled, Endall and Jam P Start offer ways to get them back. Vicissitude of Providence was designed to support maximum monsters, but most Psychic monsters also have 0 defense, giving them a bit more consistency. 2 new generic cards would also see play. Siesta Torero and its position-changing effect was a popular tech to deal with high-attack boss monsters. Note that despite running Torero, most players ran no copies of Siesta Hold, but a card that did see use was Acetic Acid Trap Hole. From Mystic Dealer to Currybot, every deck was playing multiple targets. A well-timed activation not only denied effects, but could prevent your opponent from using that monster as tribute. Many players would adapt and dodge the card's effect by setting monsters they wanted to tribute, rather than summoning them in attack mode. June brought Maximum Ultra Evolution, which largely featured underwhelming dinosaurs, though Ritzy King Rex stood out as another generic card to splash into decks. Getting an extra card for free was great, even if you didn't use the newly introduced fan-favorite card Upstart Goblin, but as a legend card, it saw essentially no play in Rush. The set also helped provide the next wave of support for Wind Warriors, most notably Straight Pierce. 2000 attack and piercing helps close out games, especially when... No! Wait! That's right. Straight Pierce can target any level 7 or 8 monster, meaning Dragias OTK joins the meta, divorcing itself from spellcaster cards for warriors. And while a bit degenerate, it's nice to have something other than Dark Revelation decks doing well. And though it didn't dethrone Dragoncaster, something else was about to pierce straight through. It's time for everything to change. But first, let's cover other notable cards from Fierce Thunderstorm. Eternal Freeze is able to out-boss monsters like Dragias the moment they hit the field, making it a staple in main decks and side decks alike. And speaking of removal, Psychic decks get Jam P Set, which not only removes a threat, but shovels away some monsters in the graveyard to help shut off Dark Revelation. Dragon Enjoyers would immediately start tinkering with Thunderbolt, pairing it with the various retames of Dragias that were a bit too awkward to use before. Unfortunately, the deck would need some more time before it truly took shape. And for the first time in Rush Duel history, a good deck revolving around normal monsters splashed onto the scene. Normal monsters have been common in every deck so far, but following World and help from some older support cards made Wind Beatdown a viable strategy. But none of these were able to claim the number 1 spot. New boss monsters, draw support, battle traps. The Machine Uprising is here, and it's about to get even bigger. Over the next month, several promo cards were released, all with the intention of helping this deck thrive. Surge Bicorn counts as 2 tributes. Avon Wolf provides a strong stat line. And, most importantly, Acebreaker arrives with the launch of Saikyo Battle Royale for the Nintendo Switch. Alongside existing cards, including Jinzo and Mirror Innovator, the deck had everything it needed. After a full year and a half of domination, the deck not only competes, but surpasses Dragoncaster. And in that time, the game has grown significantly. At first, there were no other decks considered building, but now we have Psychics, we have Maximum Monsters, we have Jank. They could not have picked a better time to release the video game. But the format is about to get even crazier. Next episode, we're going even further. Rush Duels are getting something a little extra.